ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Copenhagen! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Professional Darts Corporation proudly presents the Danish Darts Open. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet our players, and would you please welcome from Ireland, the history maker, Brendan Dolan! And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Scotland, the Highlander, Big John Henderson!
Welcome to Copenhagen in Denmark for day 2 of the Danish Darts Open, the first ever foray into Denmark by the Professional Darts Corporation. And what an opening day we had yesterday. Loads and loads of tight games. Last leg deciders, left, right and centre. Some really high quality stuff. Granted, we didn't see either of the Danish players come through, but we have seen some strong performances from the Nordic and Baltic players. Darius Labanauskas and Madars Rasma flying the flag for the Nordic and Baltic countries, and we will see both of those guys this afternoon. Today you're going to see 5 world champions in action, 11 major champions spread across the 16 games, 8 this afternoon and 8 this evening, and it all gets going with a major finalist in Brendan Dolan, the Northern Irish number 2, and Scotland's John Henderson, the Highlander, who, for Big John, veritably raced up on stage here at the Brøndby Halle to get today's action underway. It is the Highlander and the history maker. I'm Dan Dawson, and Chris Murphy is alongside me for the opening game of the afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. It's a couple of former European Tour finalists on that stage to kick off the second day of action here in Copenhagen. And as you said, it was an enthralling opening day. Some really dramatic clashes and some really high quality performances too.
First leg, Brendan to throw first. Game on.
Not least from Madars Rasma, who is next up against the rock star Joe Cullen, a man who's been very, very consistent on the European Tour in 2018. But Brendan Dolan got the job done against Martin Schindler, exacting some kind of revenge for that World Cup of Darts defeat at the hands of Team Germany.
Yeah, it was a strange old game, that one, between the number 2s from Germany and Northern Ireland. Schindler consistently outscoring Dolan, but missing his doubles, and Dolan's efficiency at the back end of legs helped him win it 6-4, despite having an average 5 points lower than Martin Schindler.
Interesting matchup, this one. John Henderson, the number 16 seed, and 100. Hard to call, I think. Brendan Dolan has had some glimmers of a return to form. Henderson seems to go on these little spells where for a few weeks he hits some kind of zone. Dolan's picked up 5 PDC titles in his career.
135.
Henderson yet to win one, but has reached the final on the European Tour. The semi-finals of the World Grand Prix last year, of course, that's where Brendan made history with that 9-darter. And reaching the final
100
of that, his only appearance in a major final. I really think this, as many of the fixtures yesterday and many of them to come today, is a bit of a coin toss.
Yeah, I think so as well. And Hendo, you go back a few weeks,
58.
probably, you know, around about 2 months you go back. He had a little spell, one of those you were talking about. He had a quarter-final on a Pro Tour event. He made the final day of a Euro Tour, and then he had another quarter-final in 3 events. And I remember on one of those, when we were working in either Milton Keynes or Barnsley or whichever one it was, and the draw just seemed, loads of big names had gone out early, and it just looked like it might finally be Hendo's day to pick up his first PDC title.
137. When you require 100.
But seemingly, as always, he falls to a heroic defeat. Very nearly breaking the throw in the opening leg.
Dolan looking to hold on to it then. That was a little bit closer to the treble than he intended, I'm sure.
44.
And that wasn't close enough to the double.
John, you require 40.
So Big John getting a chance to break. Double top the targets. Looks like a decent guide. Oh, he just has to flick it off either of these darts and it's in.
Veronica, Mrs. Henderson, looking on and approves. Brendan Dolan not showing the same efficiency as he did against Martin Schindler when it came to hitting the doubles.
100.
Henderson has won his last 3 matches against Brendan Dolan, stretching back. You speak of heroic defeat, stretching back to that run to the final of the German Darts Masters, where he was edged out in the last leg decider by Michael van Gerwen. He beat Brendan in the quarter-final, sparking this run of 3 straight wins, and those wins have levelled up the head-to-head at 4 apiece.
Yeah, you can kind of see the tail of their careers. When you were looking at Brendan, 2011, 2012, that's when he was winning titles, very, very dangerous, moving up and up and up the rankings into the top 10 in the world.
180.
Yeah, that 2011 win at the Grand Prix was the quarter-final before he hit the 9-darter in the semi-final against James Wade.
100.
And around that time when he picked up all of those 5 titles, well, just after that wasn't, that was kind of the rise of Brendan Dolan.
Well, he nearly walked away from the game. It was that run to the final of the Grand Prix that convinced him that his career lay in darts rather than being a painter and decorator
60.
with his brothers back in County Fermanagh.
Set to miss out on the match play for the 2nd consecutive year, though, Brendan Dolan.
81.
So still work to do to hang on to his place at the top of the game. And when I say top, I'm talking that top 32 bracket where you're in many of the TV events. Only qualified for 3 TV events last year.
61.
Yeah, well, ridiculously, Brendan Dolan, despite being a major finalist,
137.
and, you know, quarter-finalist at the Grand Slam, the UK Open, 2-time semi-finalist at the World Cup of Darts, didn't even qualify for the UK Open this year.
Bullseye then.
97.
Henderson looking to win a 2nd leg on double top. Does exactly that.
The leg Brendan to throw first.
The tale of the match so far is that Brendan Dolan misses and John Henderson hits. The menu for this afternoon's
85.
Danish darts action. I mentioned Cullen against Rasma after this. We've then got the Welsh #1 Gerwyn Price up against Jelle Klaassen, who came through a frosty affair with Mickey Mansell yesterday.
There have been words.
135.
Mickey Mansell, a former World Cup of Darts partner of Brendan Dolan. Evidently not Jelle Klaassen's biggest fan, and I think the feeling's mutual. The Pope loves it.
Hallelujah, as Henderson fires in a maximum. Yeah, the Welsh #2 follows that. Johnny Clayton against Darius Labanauskas. James Wade taking on 17-year-old Rusty Jake Rodriguez. Before Darren Webster faces Cristo Reyes, who, well, sulked his way to victory
16.
last night. Hoping the crowd give him a bit more support against Webster today. Then it's Whitlock Watermana and Stephen Bunting against Peter Jakes. Before the massive names join the action tonight, the likes of Peter Wright, the world champion Rob Cross, the #2 seed Michael Smith, and the #1 seed Michael Van Gerwen, who the winner of this would expect to play. But MVG's got to get past Taylor first. No, not that one.
67.
Brendan missed a couple of darts in the first leg. He missed a dart in the second leg. He is going to get 1 dart in this third leg. And he has missed
35.
that as well. And if Hendo
91.
can pin the 91, it's a double break. And he's gone safety first route, but you can tell he doesn't like how he's covered up that bullseye. Can he find a way through to it? No, he can't.
66.
A decent enough attempt, but I just fancy it. He got a dart at double by going that way. He got a dart at the bull, but John Henderson hit tops in each of the first 2 legs. I wonder the treble 17 route might have been more favourable. It's okay being wise after the event, I suppose.
You'd have been the first to criticise him if he'd gone the treble 17 route and not had a dart for the leg in that visit, though, would you not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, yeah. Well, there we go. At least Chris is honest about the fact he's a massive hypocrite.
Hypocrite.
77.
See, what he should have done now is stuck that one in the board, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
No good on the floor, is it?
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chris Murphy Darts Clinic is open.
Yeah, I think I need some kind of clinic.
100.
Well, John Henderson still, you feel, looking in control of the tie early
96.
on, having got that break. And Dolan has missed opportunities in every leg. But the way the Highlander is hurling them in this one, the Northern Irishman might not get any opportunities to win this leg.
98. Johnny require 138.
And John Henderson will return for 80. We've seen a few players yesterday go top with 2 darts in the hand, but play it so safe that they didn't really threaten hitting double top with the first one, but blocked the bed. I don't like that route at all.
Silly. Hendo won't do anything silly. Or will he? No, of course he won't. 80 taken out for a 3-1 lead.
Game on.
Just looking comfortable, isn't he, John Henderson here?
Hendo has quite recently worked his way into the seedings for these European Tour events, so it is a relatively new thing for him. And I know he's very disappointed to go out early. last time out, but he looks a little bit more at ease this weekend. And that's 3 180s in 3 legs for Big Hendo, who may be growing into this.
55.
Yeah, we saw Henderson in the Dutch Darts Masters go out in the second round. He didn't qualify for Gibraltar because he wasn't in the seedings there. So he's been in and out,
59.
and it's about making the best of your position, because obviously if you lose your first game as a seeded player, it's no ranking money. And when you're hovering around that top 16, you might be in the seeds, you might not. You want all the ranking money you can get.
Well, this tournament and the doubleheader in Barnsley is going to be important for Henderson for the seedings for the latter half of the year. We've got 5 European Tour events after this one. The next 2 he hasn't qualified for. So he won't be in Hamburg next weekend, nor Hildesheim.
98.
I mentioned that little spell he had earlier in the about 2.5 months ago, where he went quarter-final, final day of a Euro Tour, and quarter-final in 3 events. Well, he hasn't made a quarter-final of anything since then. He's had lots of like last 32s and last 16s. He's winning 2 or 3 games, but he's not going on and having a deep run. And that's all right for Hendo, in that he's walking away from weekends, you know, 3-4 grand to the good, and it's ranking money.
100.
But it's a big, he goes up in large steps when you get to the back end of
Yeah, and it's the fact that he hasn't been able to build on the finish he had to 2017, where he reached that semi-final at the World Grand Prix, having beaten Michael van Gerwen. That had followed a couple of quarter-finals on the Pro Tour.
64.
Went on to reach the last 16 at the World Championship, of course, beating Daryl Gurney en route.
Yeah, played some great stuff, Ali Pali. And this is pretty good too.
24.
But he just hasn't really. He did reach, as you said, one of the UK Open qualifier. He got the semi-final of one of those early on this year. But as you said, since then, he's not really built on it. And we are now sort of halfway through the year. Now then. Deflected, didn't it?
96.
I'm not sure if it was a diversion or not.
40.
Well, I'll tell you what, double top, he always looks dangerous on anyway, but today, if he's missed it, he's only just been missing, and a lot of the time it's just above. They've been very good misses.
Yeah, he's got his range up there, hasn't he? Because the other leg that he won was on double 5. 3 hits at tops, 1 at double 5.
97.
Yeah, and that double 5 was for the 80 checkout, where he hadn't had a dart at tops in that leg either, so well, he's getting very, very close to it, and usually pinning it 2 or 3 darts in.
131.
And that will be a serious worry for Brendan Dolan.
All that weekend in Milton Keynes. Not long ago, Brendan Dolan playing some of his best stuff again. He reached the quarters, then the semi-finals. And it would be great to see him doing it again on the stage, but in this match, he's kind of not being let by John Henderson, because the fact that he knows that Henderson, whenever he's in the vicinity of a reasonable checkout, looks like hitting it.
100.
Well, look, it could have been a lot closer, but Brendan, he's just missed too many darts at double. And it's the opposite story from his first round game against Martin Schindler.
140.
That leaves Henderson handy-ish, but Brendan Dolan has the chance to take a chunk out of this and put some pressure on of his own, but you can see there, just when it comes to the crunch,
75.
Dolan is faltering.
Brendan, you require 135.
Starting on the bullseye here for this one. Oh, well, Well, he's at the 17 and the chance has gone. Now then, big hando. Double 4. Not a good dart at double.
64. Brendan, you require 80.
Almost wonder whether he'd have been better off having one dart at tops rather than a couple at double 4 and double 2.
I was just thinking exactly the same thing. Now Dolan's got himself a couple of darts at double. And needed just one.
That's the first time that Dolan has managed to break the Henderson throw. But for once, Hendo has started missing, while Dolan has started hitting at the end of legs. There's still a lot of work to do to turn this around, but we did see some real strange games yesterday. Lots of comebacks, some of them successful, some of them battling all the way back to parity, and last leg deciders only to then throw it away. Richard North and Robert Thornton among the guys to have done that.
21.
And this match is far from over. Perhaps it could have been, but Brendan Dolan now in a strong position to reduce the deficit to a single leg.
$41. $100.
Well, it's a max, it's his fourth, but it does leave a bogey number, and Dolan knows he's got 6 darts from here, and some of the stuff prior to that visit from Hendo in this leg was not particularly good.
87.
So it might not really matter, that one. We shall see.
It might just help him get back in the swing of things, because for John Henderson, it is all about that, isn't it? The rock, the rhythm.
102.
When it's all right and it's all clicking, it can look $1 million. When it goes wrong, it can go horribly wrong.
You've shown the 7th leg for Brendan.
Right, a 13 darter, the double pin first dart. Brendan Dolan looking a different player right now.
41.
And already a chink of light for Dolan. 41 called by George Noble, and Dolan's already outscored Henderson by some distance.
This is some fight back from Dolan. He produced one against Schindler. He is producing one against Hendo.
60.
Well, that was his first maximum, but what a time. Snatched a darts. In some people's eyes, might have become favourite here, because if he wins this leg, he'll have the throw in the next, and indeed in the decider if it gets that far.
51.
Well, 100 points away from a finish. Hendo.
100.
It's kind of feast or famine with Hendo, isn't it? Some visits and some darts are just so way off target.
Yeah, you saw there, they were all spread out. He was trying to find the right adjustment, having fired the first one high. Still, if he gets a bit of a feast here,
I think it's got to be a
down to a finish.
A maximum feast, really. Sun 40 would leave a finish. He's not going to do it.
60.
But Dolan still in a strong position to break.
$80.
Important last start.
I saw a 1-3-2 check out yesterday from Ryan Joyce, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, the first start of that left an ocean of room in the bullseye. All about the first start.
Well, he may not go for the bullseye here with Hendo not in a finish. It looks like he's looking at it, though. How would you know? Hendo shakes his head at the back of the stage there. He's frustrated that he's had 5 visits to the board and hasn't even got down to something he could possibly finish.
Well, a 140 would leave that double top, and that would pile the pressure on Brendan Dolan. Not to be.
60.
It's only 60. It's just looking very laboured for the Highlander right now. Brendan Dolan looks at 18. And now double 16. To level up this time. And effectively take control of it.
Brendan Dolan, the last 3 legs, he's taken out 80 in 2 darts, 40 in 1 dart, and that 50 in 2 darts. It has been flawless finishing for the last 3 legs from the Northern Irishman after real struggles in the early part of the game. This game has changed. There is time for it to change once more. But big John Henderson has got to start forcing that change.
Well, I think Brendan Dolan is forcing a few mistakes out of big John Henderson here. 2 legs running, the first visit has been a bit of a shocker. Start of this match, John Henderson was just, we were saying it, looking so comfortable up there. Now he's looking anything but.
Well, look, Henderson, all right, he might have a slightly higher first 9 average, but 94 is nowhere near what we can expect from Henderson. He's hit 4 180s in this game, and yet still only 92. That is because there's been so much just average stuff in there. He has hit 1 treble in his last 8 visits to the board.
140.
The great Hendo treble drought of 2018. There's one!
100.
Dolan now seems to be finding 1 in most visits. Well, welcome back, John.
It's still not enough to get down to a finish. Dolan knows he's got a couple of visits here. And with the way he's been finishing the last 3 legs, you quite fancy if he gets a shot at a double, it's going to go.
87.
John Henderson might be wondering what's going on here. Led this match 4-1.
99. Brendan, you require 32.
Brendan Dolan hoping to continue his golden run of doubling to take the lead for the very first time. It continues.
Well, Brendan Dolan, by my count,
60
was 25%, in fact 20% in his doubles. He was 1 out of 5, but he's pinned the last 4 first start, so now he's hitting more than half, and that's world class. And it has changed
86.
like that. But John Henderson, whether pressure from Dolan or whether just going off the boil himself, he has allowed Brendan to get back into this match when, if he just carried on in the manner that he was doing earlier on in the game, he could have just ended it. I mean, he missed 2 darts for a 5-1 lead, and that could have been end game.
If Brendan Dolan carries on like this, he could even get the job done here. Could be 5 straight legs. Saw a bit of this yesterday, didn't we? Players seemingly running out of steam on the heat of the stage here in the Brøndby Halle. The one that stands out was Dennis Nilsson last night. 4-0 up against Ricky Evans, only to be beaten 6-4.
100.
Brendan Dolan, you just saw that celebration there. He feels good right now. And he feels like the winning line is in sight.
43.
I think John Henderson may feel like the winning line is in sight as well, but I think he also acknowledges it's not going to be him crossing it first.
Well, you saw as that treble 20 went in, that's one of the great things about the camera angles we have in the game of darts, that John Henderson's head dropped. He knows that the game could be up.
4-1 down, survived a couple of darts for a 5-1 deficit, but then Dolan just kicked in. Checkouts of 80, 40, 50, 32, now 60. They've not been massive ones, but he's made them look very easy.
20.
Until just then.
But once again, John Henderson powerless to do anything about it, because after 5 visits to the board, no possible outs. And that probably means that John Henderson is out for the Danish Darts Open, unless there's one final twist in the tail. But no, there is not. Brendan Dolan completes a superb turnaround from 4-1 behind. The Northern Irishman wins 6-4 for the second consecutive day. It was Martin Schindler yesterday. It's John Henderson today, the number 16 seed heads home. And Dolan goes through to the final day of action at the inaugural Danish Darts Open. We've got Joe Cullen, the number 7 seed, coming up next against yesterday's top performer, Matters Razman. But before that, let's have a quick word with the winner of match 1, Brendan Dolan, talking to our man, Dan Dawson.
Brendan, congratulations. You are not doing this the easy way, are you? Had to come from behind in the first game, you had to come from behind against Endo there.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, I get up on stage, feel good, throw looks good, can't throw. It is weird, and I have to say now, John fell away in the latter part of that game, and that's why I won. I possibly stole it off him. I didn't go and win it. I'm disappointed the way I played. John has to be massively disappointed the way he played. But he didn't push on when he got in control, and I'm glad of that. It just didn't happen. He possibly hasn't been playing as well as he had the previous 18 months. So I get the lucky break this time. I haven't beat John in 3 or 4 attempts, so it's nice to win.
Do you feel your game is at a stage at the moment where if you have to play the best player in the world in the next round, and it could happen, that you've got it in you to go and beat Michael van Gerwen?
Playing like that today, no. But I'm not normally playing like that. So I think the bonus of playing Michael, I may not be playing Michael, but the bonus of playing Michael is I've got nothing to lose. And if I relax and play the game I can play, I definitely can give Michael a game. And I do believe I can win. But, you know, he is the best player in the world. He plays on this stage week in, week out. You know, that's the bonus he has. I'm playing an odd week now and again. But I do believe if I perform at my best, I'll definitely push him the whole way.
He believes it could happen. Brendan Dolan, the history maker, your first winner here and the second day at the Danish Darts Open. He will take on either Scott Taylor or Michael van Gerwen tomorrow.